They keep hurting you. Not because you're weak. Not because you're naive. But because you're open. Because your heart was trained to love through storms. To see the best in people, even when they've shown you their worst. And sadly, some people recognize this tenderness. Not to cherish it, but to use it. They see how quickly you forgive. How you question yourself before ever questioning them. How you hold space for their moods, their silence, their disrespect. And somewhere deep down they think, you'll let me get away with this. And for a while, you do. Not because you enjoy pain, but because you believe in their potential. Because you remember their kindness, even when it's buried under cruelty. Because your heart whispers, maybe they'll change if I just love them harder. But that's not love. That's survival. That's the pattern of a soul that learned long ago to earn love by shrinking. To perform. Fix. To stay quiet so others wouldn't leave. To see red flags and turn them into reasons to try harder. Maybe it started in childhood. When affection came in waves, and silence came in floods. When being good meant being invisible. Or maybe in your first love, where pain was disguised as passion. Or maybe little by little, in relationships where your boundaries were quietly erased. You became the one who tried harder, who loved louder, who stayed longer than you should have. Not because you were foolish, but because you were hopeful. You hoped they'd change. You hoped your love would be enough. But hope without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. You gave your energy to people who only knew how to take. You tolerated emotional neglect, manipulation, and even abuse. All in the name of keeping the peace. Of keeping the connection. Of keeping them. And they kept hurting you. Because once someone realizes they can disrespect you without consequence. Once they know you'll stay after the apologies. After the gaslighting. After the silent treatments. They stop trying. They stop caring. They stop seeing you as someone worth protecting. They see you as someone who will always stay. And so they hurt you. Not by accident. But because they've learned it's safe to do so. But here's what they never knew. You were always allowed to say no. You were always allowed to walk away from what bruised your soul. You just didn't believe you were. They didn't hurt you because you were too much. They hurt you because they saw your light. And instead of being inspired, they tried to dim it. They were intimidated by your depth. By your emotional honesty. By your ability to love without holding back. You gave your soul to people who were never ready to receive it. And now, you're waking up. You're starting to see it for what it was. Not your fault, but also not your future. You don't have to keep rescuing people who refuse to save themselves. You don't have to bleed emotionally so someone else can feel powerful. You don't have to keep proving your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. Let this be the moment you remember. You are allowed to outgrow pain. You are allowed to walk away without guilt. You are allowed to heal, loudly, unapologetically, and fully. You don't have to wait for them to stop hurting you. You just need to stop letting them. You are not here to be someone's emotional punching bag. You are not here to be the one who always tries harder. You are here to love, but not at the cost of your own peace. You are here to forgive, but not to forget who you are. You are here to walk in truth, not to remain in cycles that destroy your spirit. And if you've been wondering whether you're overreacting, let me tell you, your pain is valid, your tears are real, and the way they treated you was not okay. You didn't deserve the mixed signals, the blame shifting, the constant wondering if you were the problem. You weren't. You just kept loving people who weren't ready to love you back. And maybe they never will be. And that's not your fault. That's not your burden to carry anymore. That's not a flaw. That's a lesson. And now it's time to honor that lesson. Block the number. Close the door. Stop explaining. Stop waiting. Stop hoping they'll change. Start choosing you. Start giving the love you gave away. To yourself. Start nurturing your own spirit like it's sacred because it is. Start being the protector of your peace. Start speaking to your heart the way you wished they would. Tell yourself, you are worthy. You are enough. You are not too much. You never were. Cry if you need to. grieve what could have been, but then rise, step into the light of your own worth, and never again settle for love that feels like suffering, because the version of you who allowed that pain, she was surviving, but the version of you who is rising now, she's ready to live, to thrive, to feel peace that isn't followed by chaos, to feel love that doesn't need to be earned. You were born for more than survival. You were made for joy, for sacred connection, for the kind of love that never asks you to shrink. So let this be your moment, the moment you draw the line, the moment you stop bleeding for people who never learned to stop cutting, the moment you realize you didn't lose them, you found yourself, you found the pieces they tried to break, you picked up what was left and started again, not bitter but wiser, not hardened but healed, not closed off, just more careful with your heart. This is not the end of your story. This is your beginning. A chapter filled with self-respect, radiant peace, and a love that starts within. And that is the most beautiful story you'll ever live. If this stirred something deep inside you, don't leave in silence. Like, share, and subscribe to Bloomsage Nest, where healing becomes your superpower and love begins with you.